everybody, and welcome to Betweenplays Stock Market Strategies. And of course, once again, we have, and I'm sure everybody's excited about this interview, Killian Charles, CEO of Brunswick Exploration. Hey, Killian, man, how you doing?
Pretty good. Thank you for having me, buddy.
No, I'm super stoked that you're here, and I think that everybody that's watching this, they're going to be excited for what you have to say. You have two things that I feel that we should talk about. That's really exciting. It's funny because I just noticed it a few hours ago that you now have an over-the-counter symbol. Can we talk a little bit about that ticker symbol? On the over-the-counter, I think it's BRWXF. If it's off memory.
Yeah, that is correct. On the OTCQB, we've been looking to improve our U.S. exposure. There's not a lot of great ways for U.S. investors to play into the lithium market, especially on the grassroots side. Don't get me wrong. They got their Albemarle's, their Livent, their Piedmont. But if I'm a U.S. investor and I want to get exposure to growth and the future of the lithium market, we wanted to make sure with Brunswick Exploration that they had a cleaner way to buy into the stock.
Yeah, and talking about like the Albemarle's and all this kind of stuff, and that is going to give some great access because it's true that from the United States and stuff like that. I mean, such the measure of the population that would love to get into, let's say, pegmatite, spodumene, hard rock lithium versus the clays and all the other stuff, the brines. There's a huge market for that, and I mean, I think the over-the-counter is going to bring in a big flow of people once, of course, naturally, this gets out there and the exposure is there.
Oh, look, absolutely. Think with two things when it comes to the U.S. market. Albemarle, which is the largest lithium producer in the world, can buy whatever it wants on the lithium market. They predominantly have production in South America. They could continue buying in South America, yet they don't. And I think that's so telling. They go and buy one of the largest assets in the world that happens to be a hard rock asset in Australia. And to me, that's a little bit of a paradigm shift. And it's a trend, and it's really going to set the tone for all these future players and acquisitions in space. They're going to want to look for safe, dependable, long-term hard rock assets. You got to remember, we've been mining hard rock sources of lithium for 100+ years. We're going to mine it for generations to come. So that's one side of the equation.
Yep.
The second side of the equation is that, again, for American investors, when they look to Tesla is building one of the largest spodumene refining plants in the world in Texas. It is a monster, and they're going to have to find ways to feed this monster. So they need access to hard rock deposits now. And it's not going to come from the U.S. They're predominantly going to come from Canada. You saw rumors they were going to maybe buy, Tesla was maybe going to buy an asset in Brazil. Why? Just a hard rock asset in Brazil, just to feed this monster. But They would much rather have it come from Canada. So again, I think there's going to be a tone and a trend that's going to happen over the coming months, quarters, and years that's going to really cement Canada as the place to go and look for a hard rock deposit. And Brunswick's right in that sweet spot, looking for new hard rock deposit across pretty much all of Canada. We and our investors are going to benefit greatly from this trend.
Oh man, I so agree with you, Killian. Absolutely, 100%. When you look at these big companies like Albemarle, you got to ask yourself, why is it that they're going for the spodumene? Well, in my mindset, I see that it's just a higher quality, purity, lithium, and at the same time, when you look at the geopolitics of what is going on in the world, especially in South America, I mean, look at what just happened in Chile, right? The nationalization of all the lithium companies that are out there. They're just trying to bring it all underneath one hat. And then you have, Albemarle, that sure, they have a contract, and it said supposedly the government said they're gonna, the contracts that are in place are gonna keep them, they're gonna respect them. But once the contracts are over, what happens to these companies? They become nationalized. I mean, this is massive, because you have Albemarle that's down there, and then you got SQM. So,
Yep.
I mean, these are the two big players, right? So now we're looking, South America is not looking as attractive as it used to look, because of what's, because of this, because can this happen somewhere else?
No, look, it's a fantastic point. And again, to me, it speaks there's geopolitical issues don't really matter so much in the gold space. Obviously certain countries people are going to avoid for various reasons. But when it comes to lithium, it's a brand new industry, yes, but geopolitical issues come
Huge.
right up to the forefront. It's
Huge.
it's kind of hard to understand, but I tell a lot of people, look, think of it like oil. Many countries
Yes,
went to many wars over oil, right?
exactly.
US went ahead and played in a couple of countries' backyard for oil.
True.
Well, I'm not saying that we're going to go to war over lithium, but those same massive trends that we saw in the geopolitical issues are happening on the lithium side. So, source of commodity matters. Just as we're building all these refineries and all these battery plants in North America, well, Europe is also building all these battery plants and refining capacity themselves as well.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to do decarbonization. Everyone wants to participate in the value creation that's happening. And both Europe and the US are saying, well, where am I going to find my lithium? It's looking kind of tough in South America. There's a lot of issues, whether it's at the government, the risk of nationalization, whether it's actually nationalized or not, or there's major political complexities. Canada looks pretty easy. Canada looks pretty simple from an ESG perspective.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about that. It's going to be a clean, safe, dependable political and legal environment. So
Yep.
yeah, I would like my spodumene, my lithium to come from these countries. So that makes Canada an impressively amazing place to do business in and to find lithium. And again, that's where Brunswick is making, sort of focusing all of its effort because we see that opportunity. Canada is not a top 5 producer yet. Give it 10 more years, Canada is probably going to be the second, or if not the first largest producer of lithium in the world. That's still coming
You
when we're
know
going to
what?
need to find a lot of lithium to get there. And we
But
will.
I believe it, because you saying that, all right, you saying and being so sure of that, like, it just makes me smile, right? Because, you know, just recently we hit lithium, right? So Brunswick has hit lithium. You want to talk a little bit about that, the spodumene that's going on that you just hit?
Yeah, absolutely. So look, you know, maybe I'll take a small step back. So bear with me. Our view has always been to compile, identify areas of interest, and move out in the field, know whether they contain lithium or not. And then once we do know that they contain lithium, all right, let's go ahead and drill them. And that's the sort of overarching strategy for Brunswick. And something like the asset that we just drilled at Anatical West in Quebec, that's exactly what we went ahead and done there, right? So we looked at opportunities. We saw that there was potential for lithium there. We struck a deal with ODV, Cisco Development. We went ahead on that area, started drilling it about 6 weeks ago. And right off the first drill hole, boom, 30 meters of spodumene mineralization visible in core. We kept hitting on, out of, I think we did 18 holes, 17
17.
holes. Yeah, it was just like win after win after
Wow.
win after win. And that's the fun thing. And that's just one in a larger portfolio, right? That's something that we want to repeat this year, like 10 times over. Right now, we just finished our program at Anatical West. And what did we do? We immediately pivoted to a program in Hearst. So now we're drilling in Ontario. So that just got kicked off. And then
Wow.
when we turn around and finish that one, well, then the crews are out there looking for new spodumene. And then we're going to be drilling out in Saskatchewan. It's just, we want that constant, boom, boom, result, and then drilling, and then more drilling, and then back in the field finding more lithium. It's just such a unique opportunity on that side. It's nonstop.
Oh no, I completely see it. When you hit, when I saw that article and I saw that there was spodumene, I was just jumping for joy because I'll never forget a year ago when we were like, okay, let's do this now. Let's see what we got here, and then boom, all of a sudden like 17 out of 18, and it's just hitting lithium. So I mean, this is a great story, like a beginning of a story. And, you know, I know that there's a lot of interest, in your company. I mean, I was at the PDAC. I saw like, I couldn't even talk to you. You were there. You're like, hey, Albert, how you doing? We talked a little bit, but man, everybody and myself were all trying to like, go around you and just get information from you or just go,
Yeah.
hey, you know what? Like your project is that what I'm trying to say about that is that I went to all these other booths, right? You were just surrounded. You were just surrounded, or your booth was surrounded all the time. It's crazy how much interest is in Brunswick. I mean, for the people that are listening to this video for the first time, why do you think that's so in Brunswick versus other ones? Is it because of all your claims? Is it because of the fact that, what do you believe? Because your story is like, I don't know. I have a really good feeling about, but anyways, that's my opinion. Go
No,
ahead.
no, no. Look, it's scale. I think for a lot of people, it's just the scale. When I look at my portfolio, when I look that we're active in the Maritimes and Atlantic Canada, when I look that we're active in Quebec, we're active in Ontario, we're active in Manitoba, we're active in Saskatchewan, and you as an investor have, a multitude of choice. Think about it this way. The classic way of investing in the mining industry is I want to diversify my portfolio. So I don't know which one is going to work, but I like the management of company A. I like the management of company B. I like the management of company C. Which one has the asset that's going to be a 10 backer? I don't know. So I'm going to invest, a little bit in A, a little bit of B, a little bit in C. And then one of them runs and the other ones don't. Doesn't make a difference. I got a winner in that mix.
Yeah.
Brunswick sort of changes that on its head a little bit, where we have the portfolio of company A, B, and C, and then D all the way through Z. So we have the portfolio of like 15 other companies in the space. And we have access to capital of all these companies as well. So that allows us to differentiate instead of saying, well, which company is going to work and should I be, looking to different ones out there. There's a lot of other companies that have great project, but none of them have the breadth and scale of our portfolio.
Wow.
And you got to remember, we also have over $15 million in the bank. That gives us a lot of flexibility to go ahead and execute on our plan. We're not looking to flip claims. We're not looking to do, small garbage work. No, we're focused on exploration. We have the capital to go ahead and do that work. We are exploration geologists at heart. We want to find mines. That's what we're in the business to do. And I've got the team, the capital, and the portfolio to put that to work.
You know what? Just on that, I should just end this interview because it's just amazing. That's a perfect way of ending the interview, actually. But I don't even know if we should go more, but here, I'm just going to ask you one last thing because I know that you'll be back here. I mean, you told me that you'd be back here. So there's so much. I'm just looking forward to every single time we get information on any one of these drills coming out. But we'll just finish off with this, I guess. Let me go back for a second. What I wanted to say is, when you were talking about the geopolitics and you were saying things like, people looking at Canada, I just wanted to mention, even for my viewers out there, I've been talking a lot to Australia, to some people in Australia over there. And even those people in Australia are also looking towards Canada. So imagine, Australia being what they are for mining lithium, most of it goes to China, but Australia is all eyes looking at Canada. That says a lot. I mean, when Australia is looking at Canada, I mean, that's huge. That's huge within itself. But for Brunswick, what is the next steps? Let's just say near future, and what is the plans? So, what's the plans basically?
Yeah, look, and I'll talk about the plan, but I really want to spend a minute on that Australia comment you
All
meant
right,
there.
cool. Yeah.
You know, Canada just has the most potential of any country in the world for lithium discoveries. We have never explored for lithium in Canada to the scale that we are doing so right now. For the longest time, lithium was of no interest. Why? Because refining capacity was in China. So
Yes.
that means if I found a deposit in Australia or I found a deposit in Canada, the Australian one would win every day of the week. It would just be so much simpler to send it out from Australia to China than from Canada to China. But now that the Australian market has matured and generated billions of dollars of value over the last 10 years, people are looking to Canada for that same opportunity. Because for the longest time, we have reports from geos from the 1950s that say, oh, I went on a pegmatite, I want to go, a rock that may contain lithium, but there's no economic interest here. And
Wow.
that's not the case. There's so many opportunities. We just never even bothered to find them. So this is the first time. We're still so early in this whole process. Brunswick and all these other companies, it's the first few innings. It's astounding just how early we are in the entire process.
Yeah.
There's so many more discoveries to be made, by a lot of companies. And so that's what it keeps coming back to, right? If I believe there's personally going to be another 6 PMET to be found in Canada.
Wow.
Similar large scale size asset. I think there's another 6 to be found easily across Canada.
Well, in
Well,
my opinion, I think that you guys are probably going to be the next big thing. That's my opinion, but I really believe that you guys, once you start hitting across the board, that's just what I gotta say.
Look, I appreciate it, but I'll make it even simpler. Like if every company, if every project, let's make it even simpler. If every project has a chance of, a lottery ticket of being the next major PMET, the next big discovery, well, Brunswick, by having so many chances, has the best opportunity of finding the next asset out there. So that's what I like about our strategy. That's what's so unique. You're not going to find a portfolio of this scope and size in the gold space, in the copper space, in the nickel space, in any other commodity.
And
Only in lithium do you have something like Brunswick Exploration. Only in lithium do you have a company that went ahead and consolidated so many, virgin targets across all of Canada. That's an incredible achievement, and we're gonna build from there.
Yeah.
We're just getting kicked off, and that segues into your second question there, or your actual question, I should say.
Yeah.
We're gonna be doing a lot is the simple answer, but in detail, look, we've drilled that one asset. We're drilling right now in Ontario.
Yep.
We've applied for permits and then drill in Saskatchewan. I have teams that are now departing for central Canada, so Manitoba and Saskatchewan. They get going pretty much this week.
Wow.
So it's a continuous process from that. The Quebec James Bay portfolio, that starts to pick up probably in early June. It's going to go with at least 2 to 3 separate camps, choppers, geos. It's full boots on the ground, hitting all of these targets as rapidly as possible so that we can figure out in the second half of this year just how many targets we want to drill. There's so many more things that we want to work on that we don't even know what we know right now. And we won't know until we're out in the field. And that's what we want to focus on. And that's where I want my team to be, out on the field, out on pegmatites, out telling me if they have lithium or not.
Wow. You know what? It has the potential of being a monster, as well as, I mean, the network that you guys have, and then of course the cash. That's incredible. You know what, Killian, I thank you so much for being here today. And like I was saying, I hope that you'll be here for all updates. Super excited about your project and everything you do.
No, absolutely. We'll be back and we'll have lots of reasons to talk about it. And we'll even be sporting some nice wear here. It's there you go.
I'm on board, Killian. I'm on board. You know
I
what?
like it. Let's get
In
on the
my
train.
opinion, this
Choo-choo.
is the next big one. All right. See ya on the next show.
All right. Cheers.
Cheers.
Between Plays. It's the journey and what you do between where you are and where you want to be. Research, prepare, plan, and execute your strategy. Do your DD and stay strong in visualizing and achieving your goals. Our strategy is unique since 2020. An original concept imitated, never duplicated. Real conversations with media influencers, educational and expert speakers, analysts and consultants. Between Plays, bridging the gap between companies and investors.